All right. Well, with the snack, the drink, we are ready to go. Once more, I want to thank all of you who supported the channel by picking up some minis. And you know what? Tomorrow we'll have tomorrow, I can speak common, I promise. We will have 50 fresh capsules with all kinds of fun stuff in them. But now let's begin the workshop. And this can actually move along rather briskly. The point of the workshop, as we're going to put on this week and next week, is to be able to show you a methodology as a dungeon master that you can use to help overcome writer's block or feelings of I don't know how to make a world, or I know I want to run an adventure, but I don't know what to do. You know, maybe you're not in the mood to run a module. Or, you know, you want to step out on your own. But you say, well, I have this idea, but my friends keep telling me that, like, oh, would you watch Lord of the Rings for this? And I'm having trouble being creative. I'm having trouble finding inspiration. And so what I want to do with this first part of the workshop, and tomorrow as well, we're going to sit down and we are going to make characters. We're going to make 4 characters, 2 tonight, 2 tomorrow. And the reason for this is we are going to then role play. So we started role playing on behalf of DMs by saying, I want to run, but I don't know what to run. And so we get a group of friends or family together, that's us right now, and we say, all right, I want to play D&D, and I really want to know, what do you want to play the most? What would inspire you? What would you have fun playing? And you talk back and forth. You say, well, you know, what races are available? Are there any books that are off limits? What level are we starting? And things along these lines. Well, I mean, Lightning, what we're doing could be universally applicable in the methodology. It would simply be the details that would be different. So in this role play, in this presumed conversation, what we're going to tell our friends is you can use any of the official books, or I've also been watching these people over at a site called D&D Time Play. And you can use what they have because it's pretty solid stuff. Now, for purposes of what we're doing, this simply means I have all the options turned on for races, for classes, for backgrounds, and such, including the plane shift MTG supplements, which are, I mean, they're kind of like Unearthed Arcana. You know, they're compatible. They're compatible, non-official, yet published through Wizards content. But anyway, so we have this conversation as kind of, it's not a session 0 yet. This is simply testing the waters for our friends to say, you know what? I want you to build. I want you to build something that you would love to play. And I want everyone to start at level 4, right? Because if they choose something at level 3, you know, let's we can skip over, okay, you bonk 1 goblin, congratulations, you're level 2. Hey, you bonked 2 goblins, look at that face. Oh my goodness. Whoa. She's staring into infinity. Sniff? Oh, sniff, sniff? What's over here? It's like she's licking the back of your monitor, everyone. All right. Sorry, ma'am. I gotta reduce you back down. You are too much. You are too much. You are beautiful, and I love you. So now what we're going to do is we're going to take on the role of the 4 friends or family members who've been given a basic openness. Like, yeah, just, you know, shoot a character to me. Ma'am, I need this back this way. There we go. You know, shoot it back at, shoot, you know, a character over to me, and let's sit down and talk. And that's exactly what we're going to do. So now we're going to role play as the DM's friends, and we're going to go through a methodology in order to create a character, a random one, and then we're going to submit our 4 different characters to our DM at the end of the workshop week and go over then as a DM how you can draw inspiration from this. Yeah, her eyes green screened for a moment, and I think I saw into a different plane of existence. Well, I can see forever. Look at those eyes. My goodness. Ma'am, you are... You're too much. You're too much. Alright. So now a couple of you had locked in some roles. For this first character, let's see. I'm putting it at a fixed level 4. Whoops. I'm putting it at a fixed level 4 for the character. Because, again, we want something that's foundational. We want something that, you know, we can still play with and have a little bit of work. And for any class that we might roll that needs to be level 3 for their subclass, we want to at least dip into that partially. Yes, this is now a cat stream. So, let's get into our process. Let's see. Raz has the background. Bubonic has class. Hark has race, but Wolfblade asked for it next. So Wolfblade will have to give you another role, and then Hark wants the age. So we're gonna start the process. We are gonna use Mathrock Spot for random rolls. So if there's anything else in the process. We have character sex, we have the possibility for a sub-race, we have alignment, if we're going to take an ASI, or if we're going to take a feat. Character background source, we are going to make all backgrounds available, because people come from all walks of life. Then for character classes, we are going to open up classes and subclasses. I'm not going to use the class feature extra from Unearthed Arcana in this. Then we have age, height, and weight, as well as a personality traits roll and the ideal bond flaw roll. And there may be a couple extras thrown in there for the background or a trinket. All right. Oh, Custos wants to get us started. All right, Custos. Will you please... background has been taken by Raz, the Forgotten One. At least on this first character. Though we will make another character after this one. So, Custos, will you roll a D100 in chat by typing !roll space 1D100 to get us going? And then, after that, Hark, I'm going to need a D50 roll for the race of the character. 24, so we have a female character. And then Hark is going to give us what kind of a race we have. Rolls a 43. We have a Tortle, a female Tortle. All right, let's start writing this down. In fact, there can be, if we come down here, because we are using the D&D time sub-races, there's actually a Tortle sub-race. You can be a straight-up Tortle, or you could be a dragon Tortle. And D Forgotten One, tell you what, can you type exclamation point roll space 1d12? 1 to 6 we have a Tortle, 7 to 12 we have a Dragon Tortle. Alright, we are making a straight up a turtley Tortle. Alright, female Tortle. Now for alignment, I don't see that a roll has been locked in. So Death Angel's Shadow, can I please get a D100 roll? And we'll be a nervous but open-minded DM and go for balanced odds, so that maybe we have someone who wants to play an evil character. Alright, so this character, though, is going to be neutral good. Neutral good. And, of course, the Tortles are medium-sized. We already know her level. Now let's determine if we're going to take an ability score improvement or if we're going to give her a feat. Who else is hanging around? We have... Draconic Gamer, are you still here? Maybe not. Exhausted Dragon, are you here? Is Dysfemist here? I'm trying to look for a couple people who might do some upcoming roles. Alright, the Draconic Gamer and Exhausted Dragon are both here. Alright, Draconic Gamer, can you please type exclamation point roll space 1D100? And that's going to let us know if we're going to take a feat or if we're going to go with an ability score improvement. Afterfov? Oh, yep, Afterfov, you're here as well. Gotcha. Afterfov, if you wanted to lock in that roll, I think you can press the inspiration button for it. Pardon. And then just leave a little note. Exclamation point roll, R-O-L-L, space 1D100. $32, we're taking an ability score improvement. Very well. Alright, character background. Raz, will you please roll a 78-sided die to give us our background? Okay, we'll get you in here for something exhausted. Is Raz here? Raz, I'm calling out to you. I'm going to tag you in chat. However, if you do not reply, we'll have to hold on to it. Maybe for character number 2. Going once. Going twice. And Raz, unfortunately, we got to keep things moving in the workshop. So if you're back for the second character, you can redeem that roll on it. So I'll tell you what, Exhausted Dragon, can you please type exclamation point roll space 1D78? You rolled a 1. We have an Acolyte. An Acolyte out of the player's handbook. Now, with the Acolyte, there's nothing else in particular for what type of an Acolyte you are, as an Acolyte is an Acolyte. Though we do need personality traits and then an ideal bond and flaw. And so, after FOV, can you please type exclamation point, roll space 2d8 for the personality traits. 2d8. And is anyone else here that also hasn't rolled Mom 70s or James Norris Grainwald? If Daly's here also, Cold Spark, if I can pick on any of you. I have no problem going back and giving people second rolls either, but I want to, if people want to participate and help make the character. All right, After FOV is in with personality trait 3 and 5. All right. To keep things moving along as well, After FOV, give me the ideal bond and flaw. Exclamation or roll, exclamation point roll space 3d6. 3d6. And then Bubonic One, I'm going to be calling on you to roll a 13-sided die to give us our class. D Forgotten One, I don't want to get that far ahead. Third character's tomorrow night. So I don't want to float a bunch of stuff between nights. If you want to do something for the second character, because we're doing that tonight, that's fine. But just I get really nervous if I have to keep track of a lot of extraneous stuff, if I accidentally click on something, if I forget it. Yeah. All right, so we have 3, 2, 3. Excellent. All right, Bubonic One. You had a class for this character. Bubonic One, can I get a 13-sided roll? You give us an 11. We have a Sorcerer. And I'll tell you what, to keep things moving along here as well, Bubonic One, can you roll a D6? And it's a D6 because Storm appears twice on this list for whatever reason. It's drawing from the Sword Coast Adventures Guide 2 times. There's a couple little blips in the spreadsheet here. All right, and you roll a 3, so we have a Shadow. We have a Shadow Sorcerer. Female Tortle, Acolyte background, a Shadow Sorcerer, level 4. Ooh, pardon. Now, they don't have any particular, I mean, sorcerers, they get what they get for the type of sorcerer that they are. So now we're going to come down here, and we're going to go to Tortles. Tortle. And Hark, you had asked for the age roll on this character. Give me a percentile roll in chat, please, to give us the age. 96. So we have an ancient Tortle. And now Tortles, you know, despite tortoises living, what, 200 plus years, Tortles are actually a shorter lived race. An ancient Tortle is 50 years old plus. And so she is very ancient. She's probably on her last, you know, quest to do something. Let me check. Wolfblade isn't here, so D Forgotten One, you can roll race on our next character, by the way. Since Wolfblade isn't here to redeem. Okay. So, I guess, Hark, roll a D4. And we'll find out, how advanced she is, for a Tortle. Two. She is 52 years old. And is ancient. All right. Then we need a height and a weight modifier. So if I can have... who else is hanging? Is Bewitchcraft, are you here? Or... Custos. Custos, if you're still here, can you please type... Or can you give me a 2d10 roll for a height modifier? And then, Draconic Gamer, can you give me a 2d4 roll for the weight modifier? Alright, we're adding 8 inches to her height, so she's 4 foot, 16 inches. And then we're going to take that same... We're going to take that same 8 and multiply it by 4. So that's 32 plus her base weight of 370. Tortles have thick shells. So that's 30. So 402 pounds at 5'4", and she is ancient at 52 years old. Yeah, that's well, not necessarily. Well, it depends, I guess, on how you want to look at the shadow sorcery. But that is certainly something that we'll end up discussing. All right, so we have our placeholders, and we can now start delving into. We can start delving into the character, and you all know I love doing this, starting at chapter 4, and with the background, because we learn so much about the character from what they've done or what they're currently doing as a job, a hobby, something that was formative in their upbringing. So as an acolyte, we're going to have insight and religion as our skill proficiencies. We're going to get 2 languages of our choice. So this would end up being... Tortles get common. I think they get Aquan. We'll double check in the Tortle package source. Common, Aquan, and then we get 2 others from being an acolyte. We are going to get a holy symbol. We are going to get a prayer book or a prayer wheel. Well, if we perhaps have some aquatic tendencies, perhaps a prayer, like a prayer water wheel, would be what we have. Make it fun and thematic. 5 sticks of incense. A set of vestments so that we can perform the ceremonies. A set of common clothes. Hi. Oh, we're so rubby right now? Yeah, you're in a good mood. And a belt pouch containing 15 gold. It is common and Aquan. Got it. Alright, well, I guess camera 3 is just absolutely looking in the opposite direction, right? She just went up and asserted dominance on that camera. And you know what? She's only going to get more interesting, Hark. Now, her background feature is Shelter of the Faithful. And so her and people that she is... Her and people she's with can get healing, food, and shelter, though it is asked that she performs duties to the faith in exchange. Now, what's her personality like? We had 3 and 5. I'm going to scoot this over to make the typing a bit easier here. 3 and 5. I see omens in every event and action. The gods try to speak to us. We just need to listen. And number 5, I quote or I misquote, so I guess we can decide. Sacred texts and proverbs in almost every situation. So, you know, we have a well-meaning kind of a grandma Tortle here. She's an acolyte, which could mean that, I mean, she's not a cleric by class, but because you're an acolyte doesn't mean you don't hold station within the faith. You could still be an administrator. You could be a higher person of the cloth than simply a candle holder and be an acolyte. In fact, it might even be considered that the powers within her have been granted or awoken by the deity. And so, in a sense, she is channeling, you know, she has become a vessel for this deity to manifest. I see omens in every event and action. The gods try to speak to us. We just need to listen. And I quote or misquote sacred texts and proverbs in almost every situation. So she's kindly. She's not manipulative. But maybe. Oh, my brain just mixes up some proverbs here and there. What was it said? Meanwhile, you know, like the party's fighting inside. It was about the goblins. A goblin in the hand has the upper hand on the other foot. Yes, that's the one. Now let's go get those goblins. You imagine her being a black marsh turtle. Ooh, that would be cool. Poor camera 3 didn't know. Yeah, it is all catterwampus. It's going this way. Now, her ideal is number 3. Change. We must help bring about the changes. The gods are constantly working in the world. And her bond is number 2. I will someday get revenge on the corrupt temple hierarchy. Oh, uh-oh. Uh-oh. Could this shadow sorcery actually not be a manifestation of the faith itself? But could that be some sort of a stigma or a curse that was put on her, that she's carried with her whole life? And you know what? If she's reached the twilight of her natural life, her bond this whole time has been simmering and brewing. And I will someday, and before she ends up going belly up here in her shell, on the corrupt temple hierarchy who branded me a heretic. Even if she was born with the shadow sorcery, you know, maybe she or she was in another faith, kicked her out until they found a group that was willing to accept her and not treat her like an evil monster. Oh, do you see why we start with the background? It's already building a world. It's already building plot points. And her flaw is number 3. My piety sometimes leads me to blindly trust those that profess faith in my God. And now from here, we have everything we need to build this character. We're already starting to get an image of her physical shape in our heads. We're getting an image of how she talks and her methodologies, the things that have happened in her life. And this is going to guide us when we choose skills and when we choose a lot of other things. Her god is the... Ooh, is the conch. Does it have to be revenge? Maybe she has the... she has to right a great wrong. And after Fav, that is a good question. We can take this as a prompt, and if there's something else that might fit better or be more compelling, you know, what this tells us is something happened in our past that afflicted us, and we need to resolve it. And it was afflicted on us by a faith or our faith. So that's a very good note to point out after Fav. All right, now we have to see just what in tarnation a Tortle gets. And there's a lot of prompts here. If you're a DM, you would want to discuss, are the cultural prompts and everything that's in the source book, is that allowable? Do things change? In your world, are Tortles actually, you know, can they live as long as elves? And so an ancient Tortle, she'd actually be 700 instead of 50? These are things to discuss as we're having this roleplay conversation about role-playing. All right, our strength score increases by 2, and our wisdom score increases by 1. Our speed is 30 feet, which is going to give us a 15 climb, 15 swim, 0 fly. We have claws as natural weapons. 1d4. And that's slashing damage. We can also hold our breath for up to an hour. We get natural armor as well. You know, and that's not bad for a that is not bad for a sorcerer to be able to just go to like a nice 17. You gain no benefit from wearing armor, but if you're using a shield, you can apply the shield's bonus as normal. We also get shell defense, where if we retract in, we get an extra +4. We have proficiency in the survival skill. And then we can speak, read, write, Aqua, and common, as was there before. So, congratulations, we are now an Acolyte and a Tortle. No backstabbing? Well, it'd be a lot harder to backstab, Mom. Because she doesn't strike me as someone who would seek revenge. Probably not revenge, you're correct. Though something needs to be corrected. You know, action needs to be taken, and our Granny Tortle needs to do it before she passes into the afterlife. Okay, now we are going to build her as a sorcerer. Just a straight-up sorcerer. And then we will go to Xanathar's Guide to Everything for her particular subclass. Now, as a 4th level character, this is all we have to worry about. Nothing too complex. Our proficiency bonus is +2. We are going to have 4 sorcery points. We're going to know 5 cantrips. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we're going to have 4 first level spell slots and 3 second level spell slots. As a sorcerer, we have D6 hit die, and as we're level 4, we get 4 of them that we can spend when we rest to naturally recover hit points without the need for potions or spells. No armor proficiencies, but, you know, of course, we have our shell defense. And then we have a particular set of Sorcerer weapon proficiencies. So for weapons, I'm simply going to put Sorcerer so I don't have to list them all individually. It's in the PHB, it's easily accessible, it's an easy reference. Our saving throws are going to be Constitution and Charisma. And now we're going to get to choose 2 skills from Arcana, Deception, Insight, Intimidation, Persuasion, and Religion. Well, Religion and Insight were already gifted to us by our background as an Acolyte. So let's consult her personality. Who is this character? So she sees omens in every event in action. The gods try to speak to us, we just need to listen. And I quote or misquote sacred texts and proverbs in almost every situation. We are seeking change in the world. The gods are constantly working on us in the world. We need to see change take place. I will someday get revenge on the corrupt temple hierarchy who branded me as a heretic. To me, that might be leaning towards Arcana if we're having knowledge beyond the sacred texts and we're delving into things that might brand us as like a witch or as, you know, an arcane user and not a holy magic recipient. My piety sometimes leads me to blindly trust those that profess faith in my God. So we're going out there, we're in the world, we want to make the world a better place. So we take a look at ourselves and we make a change. I'm staring at the Tortle in the mirror. I'm asking her to make some changes. Yeah, to change her ways. So Lightning Dragon, absolutely. I think Persuasion and Arcana are going to be the skills for her. Now we're going to get some starting equipment. A light crossbow and 20 bolts, or any simple weapon. You know, we have our claws. That's worked well. But we should... Maybe we pick up something. I don't know if she's the best shot. I don't know if our Tortle's going to be very dexterous with her age or just in her training. Now, we don't get negatives for being a Tortle to dexterity, but let's look at the character. Let's look at, you know, if you're 92 years old, are you very dexterous? And this could prompt a couple other discussions, like, you know, should we lower our speed to like 20? Or even if you want to talk about it, say, well, you know, as a player, I talked with so-and-so over there. They'd even be willing to sort of push me around in a cart or like a, you know, a medieval wheelchair type of thing. If we, you know, and you as a DM can talk about those situations, you know, if you want to have that or allow for it, or if the person says, well, I probably have a lower speed. Would you, you know, could I take something in return because I'm so old? Can I lower my speed, but maybe get an extra skill? Yeah, I think that would work out well, Frog, because we do have proficiencies with quarterstaffs. And so we will get a quarterstaff, which is like her walking stick. A component pouch or an arcane focus. Oh, you know what that is? It's her holy symbol. Her holy symbol / arcane focus. Then she can have a Dungeoneer's pack or an Explorer's pack. But she's probably not doing a lot of climbing, so let's give her an Explorer's pack. And lastly, she's going to get daggers. Hey, no. No. Psst. Ma'am, no clawing. Yeah, I got you. All right. So, cantrips and all this, we'll get to it. She doesn't have stats yet, and honestly, she doesn't need stats just yet. Oh, so you would see her with a component pouch instead of using her holy symbol as an arcane focus. Oh, and we could absolutely change that up, the Forgotten One. Font of Magic, which gives us sorcery points, and we can manipulate it to create spell slots or to create more points by sacrificing slots. Ah, okay. I got you, and I appreciate you following up on that. Now, she's going to get 2 meta magic. Well, they used to be feats. They're not feats here. But she can manipulate her spells in 2 ways. Given her personality and the life that she's led, how do you see her manipulating her spells? She needs a bag of Depression-era candy that she thinks tastes good to give out to kids, but doesn't notice that kids don't like them. Let's see. She sees omens in every event and action. She quotes and misquotes sacred texts. She looks to bring about change. I will someday get revenge on the corrupt temple hierarchy who branded me a heretic. My piety sometimes leads me to blindly trust those that profess faith in my God. You think subtle spell? When you cast a spell, you can spend a sorcery point to cast without any somatic or verbal. Hey, you know what? That, oh, wait. I wonder if we could use that with shell defense. Would that let us cast out of, withdraw until you emerge? While in your shell, you are prone, your speed is 0, dexterity saving throws, and can't take reactions. And the only action you can take is a bonus action to emerge from your shell. Ah, okay. Though, perhaps if we're role-playing as PCs, we might be able to ask our DM, it's not a guaranteed approval, I want to point that out. Maybe we could ask that if we spend sorcery points on subtle spell, would we be allowed to cast out of our shell defense? But I do like subtle spell, and let's look at... Alright, so given who she is, she's an acolyte. She apparently has worked all her life around other people. Sorcery is this inborn magic. Oh, you know what? If she was branded as a heretic, maybe something bad happened, or especially if her powers were manifesting. What if she actually has empowered spell also? When you roll damage, you can spend a sorcery point to re-roll. And then you can use empowered spell even if you already have used a different one. So we can have an empowered subtle spell. But for whatever reason, this, I think shadow sorcery is like a Shadowfell infusion or something. By the book. It could be whatever our take is that we want on it. But maybe it built up, and it just, when we release our power through our, because we have to bleed out this power in a sense. Maybe when she was manifesting this as a young Tortle, she maxed out her damage, and it killed someone or someone's, something or some things. Pardon. And so Granny could possibly cast empowered spells from her shell. So I like subtle spell and empowered spell. Okay, and then we'll take an ASI at 4, but we're not worried about that because we don't have numbers right now. Now what we're going to do is open up We're going to open up Xanathar's Guide to Everything. And we are going to check out Shadow Sorcery. Shadow Magic. You are a creature of shadow, for your innate magic comes from the Shadowfell itself. You might trace your lineage to an entity from that place, or perhaps you were exposed to its fell energy and transformed by it. So maybe that. The power of shadow magic casts a strange pall over your physical presence. The spark of life that sustains you is muffled, as if it struggles to remain viable against the dark energy that imbues your soul. At your option, you can pick from or roll the Shadow Sorcerer quirks. Let's give her a quirk. Let's give her a quirk. Lightning Dragon, will you please roll? I think the shells took over your speech. Actually, Lightning Dragon, hold on. As we have Nicest Pancake here, Nicest Pancake, I would love for you to be a part of our character creation. Can you please type !roll space 1d6, Nicest Pancake. And I want you to give our character her Shadow Sorcerer quirk. You rolled a 2. When you are asleep, you don't appear to breathe, though you must still breathe to survive. Alright, so when we're sleeping, we look like we don't breathe at all. In fact, we've probably been mistaken. People probably have come up to our character a couple times and, you know, like rolled her in her shell, you know, Granny, are you okay? And then we wake up and we start breathing again. It's sleep apnea, but it's not the lethal kind. It's just a part of this. It's scary, right? My goodness. It's almost, you know, every morning that comes, it's almost like a roll to see if our poor Grandma Sorcerer passed away in her sleep. Because we don't know until she wakes up, and maybe sometimes she's hard to wake up. Yeah, Dollbound and Warforged Sorcerers with that quirk would be confusing. So I guess it would have to be something else. I don't know what it would be, though. How that would manifest. It would just be, I guess, something that you normally do that you just don't when you are in your downtime. Or roll again, because it's extremely circumstantial. All right. Shadow magic features. Starting at first level, you have dark vision to 120 feet. Not bad for a Tortle that has 0 normally. When you reach third level, you learn the darkness spell, which doesn't count against your number of sorcerer spells known. In addition, you can cast it by spending 2 sorcery points or by expending a spell slot. If you cast it with sorcery points, you can see through the darkness created by the spell. And that's a good note to have. So we have 4 and 3. We have our cantrips 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Spellcasting is going to be Charisma. We're casting as a Sorcerer. And we have Sorc points. We're level 4, so we get 4 of them. And so here, we're going to get Eyes of the Dark. Darkness. Special. Xanathar's Guide to Everything. Page 51. As a note, because we can see through it and we can cast it in different ways. Then we also have Strength of the Grave. Starting at first level, your existence in a twilight state between life and death makes you difficult to defeat. When damage reduces you to 0 hit points, you can make a Charisma saving throw. On a success, you instead drop to 1. So you know what? Our Tortle here has probably died several times. If not by sleep, then by combat or being hunted as a heretic. But she makes those saves. Strength of the Grave. All right, and then that is all for the archetype that she gets by level 4. Yeah, it's like a limited devil sight, exactly, because it's your own. It's your own darkness. All right, now, dun, da, 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 we have a character. We have a character. She has a history. She has, you know, a reputation. She does something in the world. She exists. Oh, the Unbroken Black Tortle Saint. So maybe then, what, as an Acolyte, you know, you don't need to have the Hermit. You don't, yeah, you don't need to have the Hermit background if we want to say that she lives as a Hermit in a swamp. Or maybe she is a part of an order, but it's one that took her in despite another order, if not her own, in another location, having hunted her down as a mutant or as someone who channels dark energy. Meanwhile, she's the nicest granny you'll see. It just so happened that she had an accident when she was a kid growing up. Her powers manifested, and unfortunately, it caused property damage or life loss. And so she's carried that loss with her. She became pious over this course of time, and now at the end of her life, she wants to go on one last adventure. Then again, given everything that's here, maybe the DM might say, you know, maybe your life isn't at an end, or yes, you're 50 and you look aged. But these dark preservation magics, like these necrotic energies, might have slowed down your aging. Or, you know, in this sort of like near-death state, you are preserved until you actually like go out of your way to die, which would even include not passing your check. So there's a lot of flavor that a DM can talk to with the friend or family member that's presenting this character. She's really cool. I love her. And she's going to have a lot of options to wield even at level 4. All right, so bring this back over. It's now time to use the standard array and to give her ability scores. We have a good granny. The 15's going in charisma. We may not get a racial bump to it, but that is not relevant. She has a good heart. She goes out into the world. She tries to make a difference despite being persecuted. That being said, dexterity, not her strong point. I think that she is a tough gran as well. And I think we should put a 14 in for her constitution. I mean, well, this is presuming she's a mother or a grandmother. Maybe she doesn't have kids. I don't know. She could have taken a vow to not have kids, or maybe she's been scared this whole time that she never wanted to, you know, to have a family, to lay some eggs of her own, because what if they inherit these dark powers? So if you want her to be a, a gran in sort of title only, we can. Or she can't die until her calling is fulfilled. So we almost, despite having a level 4 player character, we almost have a walking legend. And it's not one that's going to terrorize towns or going to mobilize an army. You simply have, in a way that's not necessarily offensive, it's not breaking mechanics, that you have a character, she's just so old and tired that she's looking forward to fulfilling this, revenge, though it's probably not revenge. You know, she needs to, like, return the power or something and dispel this, and then she can pass on peacefully. So she is not the living dead, but she is living, though, in this state of almost perpetual death. Now we do have Strength of the Grave, and you know what? A part of me is really enjoying thinking that that she has old woman strength here. You know, when she needs to perform, I think that she can. So Strength of the Grave is, you know, to keep from dying in this case. This necrotic energy could bolster her muscles. It's not making her dexterous, but you know what? Zombies can put in work, even though they can't dodge a fireball. From here, I think she's had a long time. She's had a long time to study. She did lay eggs, but she believes her brood was wiped out, and she carries that with her, but she has a son that survived from the brood. Oh, Afterfog is coming in with some world building. And so, all right, for all of you out there, again, if you're a DM, you're like, I'm so stuck for ideas. What happens in my world? Ask your friend that's going to play to just turn in a character sheet. Already from one character, we have an amazing setting. Though, you know what? You know what? Constitution, she's tough. I don't know if she, you know, because we have that grave ability already. She's been around a while. Let's move that 14 here. Let's move the 12 to wisdom. Now the 12 con, 10 wisdom, because we're getting a boost. How about that? All right. This is going to give us a 15 strength. If you don't think she's strong, if you want to give her like high intelligence and wisdom, I'm absolutely fine with that. I think there's just a fun part of me that she has this imbued, like this necrotic energy where everyone underestimates her. Oh, that's just Granny Tortle. And meanwhile, she'll just come over and with her cane, like flip a car, or I guess a carriage in this case. Because she does have that otherworldliness to her. So, 15, 8, 12, 14, 11, 15, and we rolled that we're going to take an ability score improvement, which means that we can put 2 into 1 stat or 1 into 2 stats. And what we might end up doing here is put 1 in charisma, and then the other, you know, strength isn't necessarily her main thing. She is probably more wise. So let's actually give her a plus wisdom modifier here. And here we go. We have a +2 strength, -1 dex, 1 con, 2 int, 1 wisdom, and 3 charisma. That's going to give us a 2 and a 2. I'm just going to discreetly copy paste this -1 throughout dexterity. Constitution's a 3 for the save. Intelligence is 2 down the line except Arcana and Religion, which are 4s. Wisdom is 1 down the line except Insight, which is 3, and Survival, which is 3. Charisma saving throw is 5. Persuasion is 5. Then Deception, Intimidation, Performance are all 3s. Armor class, this is going to be dependent on what we have going with our shells, and if we're withdrawn. So I'm simply going to put an X, and I'm going to put an X here and an X here for reference, because her AC can change. Her initiative, she's not exactly the quickest to act, and hey, okay, that works. Passive perception is 10 plus your perception modifier, which is 1, and that's her natural awareness. You know, her eyes might be a little roomy. Her side of the skull ear hole things might not be as like tight as the drums they are. Hit points. At level 1, you get your maximum hit die and hit points. Then for her remaining 3 levels, she'll get half plus 1 of her hit die. So that accounts for all 4. Then for all 4 levels, you get bonus hit points equal to your Constitution modifier. So with some quick math, 6 plus 12 is 18, plus 4 is 22. She has 22 hit points. If she attacks with her claws, or really if she attacks with any of this, she can use strength. And so she's actually swinging at a +4. Whoops. Now, if she attacks with her spells, she is attacking at a +5, and to save against those spells, the target would need a 13 or greater, because it's simply 8 plus your attack modifier to calculate your difficulty class. But wait, I like the image of her summoning an otherworldly vehicle just to demonstrate her unexpected strength. Well, I mean, if she summons it, she could take a spell similar to that, I suppose. You're imagining her trying to cross the road, a cart almost running her down, and then just knocking both the horse and the driver with her club. Yeah, with her old... Everyone's like, oh, she needs the walking stick. No, she doesn't. She doesn't need it, but she uses it. All right. So our spell casting was a 3 and a 5. And then we come down here, and the last little bit, besides choosing her spells, which I'm not going to do in this instance, because that's a more detailed discussion. The spells will reflect who she is, especially the spells she manifests, both in themes of her shadow origin and things that are going to accent her meta magic that she has. Because why take, you know, in the meta sense, why take spells meta for meta magic? Why take spells that you can't enhance with many options? So we come over here. Spells known at first level, we know 2. Then we know a 3rd spell at 2nd, a 4th spell at 3rd, and that 4th spell could even be a 2nd level spell. And then at 4th level, we know a 5th spell that could also be 2nd level if we want. So we're going to come down here, and at level 1, that's what we have, 2, 3, 4. And this is if you take these spells in the slots at the maximum you can. If you're level 3, this does not have to be a level 2 spell. You know, if you're happy with darkness, and you might even say, I don't want any other level 2 sorcerer spells except this darkness, then put 3 and 4 back here in level 1 spells. And remember too, when you level up, you can change one spell from your spell list and replace it with another spell that you can cast. Meaning that once we hit level 3, let's say we drop level 3 here. If we weren't using this level 2 spell, we can replace it and put it down here to give us more options. So it is a fixed list spellcaster, but you do have the chance to modify your spell list some over the course of time. Dagnab, Toothy Snapper. When I started my job at my gas station, a really old guy started an argument with my boss. My boss called him a name. The guy with a short, quick punch shattered the window to the gas station. Oh, wow. You gotta watch out for that old man strength. Absolutely. And so, besides choosing the spells, we have our character, with the exception of, I would love to know, what is her name? Do any of you have a name, whether it's her real name, or it's what people have come to call her, because she's been around so long? Yeah, she's a real legend, all right. What is she known as? What is her title, or her rank in the religion, as she is an acolyte as well? Strength, well, and also the leverage, yeah. The older I get, the less life in prison is a deterrent. There was a comedian that said, you know, when I'm old, I'm just gonna shoplift stuff from grocery stores. And then if they catch me, I'm just gonna go, oh, I'm old. Because what, are you gonna, you get like a, you know, an octogenarian coming in who may very well have forgotten to pay for that Hershey bar. And I'm old. Or he also said that he likes doing things like show off his strength, because he'll go over to his grandma's house and he'll be like, oh, Grandma, let me get this gallon of milk for you. Oh, Nicholas, you're so strong. Big Sam, she's just known as Old Nan. Just known as Old Nan. Her title after mother. Granny Shroud. Mother Old Nan. So, I guess we could have it be like, Matron is the rank, Framelda or Ms. Nita. Ooh, alright, hang on. We have a lot of considerations that we can squish together here. So we have Old Nan. We have Mother, Granny, Shroud, Framelda, or Ms. with a Z, Ms. Nita. So I guess it may depend if we're making a character that's just been around and that she might be known by a couple things here if we were to combine it. I have to place my vote with my fellow dragon. It's the Dragon Law. Lumadima? Lumadima? Mother Nettle? Oh, Lightning. Dragon Solidarity. Hey, if the wolves on the channel run as a pack, if the sheeps on this channel are, you know, if they flock together, Framelda Hyde. Does she have, I mean, I get the joke because it's a preservative. And she is certainly, she's well kept. Nicest Pancake, that one has your vote, is to call her Framelda. Oh, all right. Well, it seems like so maybe she's known by a couple different names, but it seems like her name is Framelda Hyde. Though she lets other people call her different things, or other towns maybe that she roams through calls her different things. Cool. Hey, we did it. We made a character, everyone. That too, the forgotten one. Alright, I gotta get up and replenish my drink. Let's take like a 5-minute break, everyone. And when we come back, I'll have a new character sheet ready to go. And we're gonna make character number 2. Now, there are some roles that have already been held for this character. Hark wants to roll class, and the forgotten one wants to roll race. If any of you want to spend inspiration now to lock in roles for this next character, go ahead and do so, and then we'll come back.